If you're on a self-discovery journey, this podcast is for you. Join us for engaging discussions with inspiring guests who offer practical strategies for embracing change and insights to navigate life's challenges and rewards. Welcome to season 2 of Your Access Has Been Granted podcast, where we will explore the transformative power of transitions and how it leads to the intersection of where passion meets impact. When we were first talking about this episode, I randomly, no, you don't have to get uncomfortable.
Okay.
I just told him we're going to keep some of these clips. So I went ahead and started to talk because maybe I could use it for like a reel to introduce the episode or something. When I was first doing the transcript of the outline for the episode, I was like, our episode is going to be called "The Girl I Used to Know," and as soon as I said that, I started singing Omarion, fussing and fighting, we back at it again. It's my fault. I don't know all the words.
I don't know either. I was just gonna dance.
Yeah, This is crazy. You ain't nothing like the girl I used to know. And when I was listening to it, I said, this is something that is literally an internal conversation. As much as he was talking to a woman, that's an internal conversation I've had with myself. As much as I fuss and fight to you on the phone, you gotta know I've had that conversation with myself 4 or 5 times before I said it out loud. Exactly. And I'm literally looking at myself saying so often, you are not the girl I used to know. I don't know how many times out loud I've said, who are you?
Yeah.
Who am I? I said that today. First of all, today has been a long day. I just came from the salon. And when I was in the salon, I was saying to Yaya, I was like, I don't even know who I am because I'm sitting there going over show notes. I'm checking into the flight. Like I'm doing all of these adult things. Yes. But it's definitely a version of Brittany that I've always wanted to see.
Yeah.
And the disidentification with the person that I used to be in those moments is so strong because it's those aha moments. And I love a good aha moment.
Yeah.
I love a good moment where I could be like, oh my God,
I'm here.
I am different.
Yeah.
I am. Oh my God. You know, we're keeping this for sure.
Yeah.
But it's really one of those moments where you be like, I am not that girl anymore.
Yeah.
I am an adult.
There's a point in time where you start to envision like what your life looks like, and you think of the things that you will do and the places you will go, and even talking about like working out and being active, and then all of a sudden you look around and components of that person that you were growing into, evolving into, start to happen. And when you're thinking about her, you don't realize that you're going to have to leave a lot of parts of you behind. You're going to have to leave behind the fruit of the past season in order to become this person. So there's a lot of things that you have to sit down. It reminds me every year they do that, at the top of the year, there's the woman with all the baggage and she's walking up the steps and all that other stuff. But facts though, you really have to put down certain things, certain roles, titles, relationships, situations in order put down, even if they're good, and give them their moment and their flowers, but you have to leave them behind in order to walk into what that next season is.
Yeah.
And in order that there has to be that ending. And so I got the net. So it's a beautiful part when you sit down and you're like, who am I? What am I doing? I never saw this one because it's real trippy. I talk to myself almost daily about it.
In the universe sometimes.
Exactly.
I dissociate quick.
Snap out of it.
What's happening here? Because you go through the process and you do the work.
Yeah.
And you get to a point to where you're like, the fight between the girl who you are, the girl who you don't want to be anymore, and the girl you want to be. Like they all come into the conversation at the same time sometimes.
Yeah. And
the old version of you is telling you, you don't need to let that go. What's the point of that? Because 9 times out of 10, you was in survival mode when you developed it. So in your mind, you're saying, I needed that to survive. Why would I let that go? You're trying to stay attached to it because it served you so well
in the past.
So in those moments where you're dismantling the wall, but that one brick served you so well in that old version of yourself, it's hard to disidentify with her. That brick. It's hard to disidentify with that brick because when you use that brick, it is the only thing that got you out of the situation you was in at the time.
Yeah. And the part that that comes into me as you're saying that is like, there's grief. A part of you literally has to die.
Yeah.
In order for you to become something new. Like, you don't just get to add it on. You can't just add on all these personas. Like, you can't be, schizophrenic. So you gotta.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can be, but that's not the desired outcome.
Correct. Okay. So you have, that might not be the best way of saying it, but you there's grief. You have to, there's a death of you that has to happen. In order for you to become this new person, you're going to have to lay down some of the things of past versions of you. And it's kind of sad and in a trippy way, because you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Because
you're still going through the grief process.
Yeah.
You're still going to go through the denial, the bargaining, the blame, the acceptance. And all of those things still play out.
Life coach. She know her stuff. Okay.
So you're still going through that grief process, no matter if it's grieving your old version of yourself, an actual physical being not being here with you anymore, losing a job or opportunity. No matter what the grief is, you go through those stages of grief all the time. And it's like I was saying, it's very difficult to disidentify, but it's so rewarding. And one of the things that I had to disidentify with was this resentment I had towards my parents. When I was growing up, I didn't realize how much it was holding me back as far as growth and like moving forward until I disidentified with that person or that version of myself. When I was growing up, I was the oldest of 6. 3 of my mom had 3, my aunt had 3. But I was the oldest. And it was a lot of responsibility put on the oldest because my mom and my aunt worked. They were both single parents. If they were married at times. But during this part where it affected me the most, they weren't. And I think up until I was 30-something, I had resentment about it. Because in my mind, I missed childhood, right? But then when I think about it, now that I've disidentified with that version of myself, I had a childhood.
Yeah.
And not only did I have a childhood, I had a good childhood because my mom used the resources that she had. She used every resource that was available to us that was in our budget that we could actually do and achieve. And I had a great childhood. I did not have a bad childhood. But in that old version of myself, it was parts of me that desired to be freer.
Yeah.
It was parts of me that didn't want to babysit. It was parts of me that didn't want to be a leader. It was a parts of me that didn't want the responsibility of my siblings when I'm only 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a lot put on me at the time, but I was an extension of my mom. And for a long time, the resentment was, why couldn't I just be a kid?
Yeah.
Why must I be responsible for these kids? I didn't have these kids. Why? Or why am I getting in trouble for something he did?
Yeah.
Or why am I responsible for whether or not they did their homework? You know what I mean? And I was an extension of my mom, and it was the way that it had to be in order for her to financially support us.
Yeah.
And then when I think about it in my 30-year-old mind, she was 20. 21, 22 with 3 children.
Yeah.
My 22-year-old self couldn't dare be that responsible. And if I had an older kid, she too would be responsible.
Yeah.
So disidentifying with the resentment and identifying with the leadership skills and the ability to be who I am now, because that was my upbringing, was life-changing for me. It allowed me to do what I needed to do to get here. To be able to have this conversation on a mic, and be able to not be fearful of what somebody else is thinking, or does it look good to others? Do they understand what I'm saying? Am I clear and concise?
Yeah.
Do I make sense? It allowed me to go through the process that I needed to go through in order to have the confidence to live in my purpose.
Sure.
Where passion meets impact. The journey has taken me, and I got so much further to go, but to release that and disidentify with that allowed me to identify with the person that I was building up to be.
Yeah. I mean, who you were destined to be.
Yeah.
All of that was necessary, because as you're talking about 10-year-old Brittany, I'm like, shit, we need her. We needed 10-year-old Brittany, because 10-year-old Brittany is 10-year-old Brittany has led to 39-year-old Brittany, my best friend, who,
Right.
but like she needed to have those life experiences in order to be able to navigate and to live in her purpose. You know?
And I be telling my mama sorry. I hope I told her sorry again, but I really do, because even my dad was even being a father figure, and I don't know if I was resentful because I had a father that wasn't a father figure.
Probably.
And my father, my stepdad, who I call that's my father. He is my daddy.
Yeah.
He was trying to make the person who was supposed to be my daddy be a father to me.
Yeah.
And to me, as a kid, I thought he was getting in between our relationship. I said, if he do that, then he really not gonna come around. Not thinking with the brain that I had at the time, that's the only thing that made sense. If you keep going at him like that, he ain't gonna never come around for real then, because he already shaky.
Right. But as a man,
he was doing what he was supposed to do, because he cared for me like I was his child, and he didn't like how that man was doing me. I almost said that nigga. He didn't like how he was doing me. So he was defending me. I had to get it out. So he was defending me, but as a child, I thought he was going against me.
Yeah.
And it's just that disidentification of what you held on for so long and believed to be true. Just because you think it's true don't mean it's true.
Correct.
A lot of the internal work that you do going through transitions helps you to disidentify with the person that you used to know. People always ask, how do you let go? You're going to have to dismantle some walls, and you're going to have to disidentify with a person who you used to be willingly. At some point, you're going to have to give in, and you're going to have to let go of those characteristics and personality traits that you built up in survival mode in order to let go. You said something? You was going to say something?
I was like, yes.
So when I was thinking about the girl you used to know, that was something that I wanted to make sure that I expressed, because I feel like that was a big part of my journey, is letting go of that childhood version of Brittany that still lived in my 30s sometimes.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Like that
was a lot.
That little girl, she runs havoc sometimes, wreaks havoc. And you said something earlier about around 33. And it's so ironic that, the age that our Savior Jesus Christ was crucified was at 33. And people always used to say, like, until I got to 33, I didn't understand this. So they would say it's your
have that transition.
Your Jesus Christ, your
Jesus year.
Your Jesus year. And I used to
say, stop saying it like that.
Exactly. Because I'm like, you guys not know that he was crucified?
Yeah.
A very painful death. Why are we calling it our Jesus year? However,
it is there
is a death that happened. There was a shift that happened. I'll say for me at 33, and it didn't happen until like I was 33 in a week or something like that. That's period between 33 and 35 where I started to shed previous versions of me, and I started to let little Nakia, younger Nakia, I let her stay where she was and not come and wreak havoc in my 33-year-old life. I didn't need 12-year-old Nakia anymore. I didn't need 7-year-old Nakia anymore. I didn't need 13-year-old Nakia anymore. And there had to be a death of some of those previous versions of me in order for me to start walking more confidently in my purpose and in what I'm doing. And I finally understood that, yeah, it is my Jesus year, because that older version of me had to die in order for me to elevate and grow and ascend to something better and into my calling,
Yeah.
So
that's exactly what happened to Jesus.
Facts. Listen,
like, literally, he transformed into his higher form.
That's what I'm saying. It really is a Jesus year. Yeah,
he had to leave the fruit that he had worked for in that season here in order to get to the next season. And although it was traumatic and depicted as inhumane,
yeah,
I hate to say this, because Lord, I hate that I was picked to be one of your stronger soldiers, but it's really true.
Yeah,
the hardest battles go to the strongest soldiers.
This is true, but it's when you read the Bible. Wasn't planning on going here, but when you read the Bible, you hear of stories of struggle. They talk about Christianity as being the faith of like suffering, and you go through these struggles, you go through this pain, and it does builds you up to be a better version of you. And I actually, hold that thought, because I was reading this today and I said, ooh, this is good. I took a screenshot of it.
This is good.
Psalms 28:7 says, if it wasn't for the struggles, you wouldn't be as strong as you are today. God is always building you up, even when it feels like he's breaking you. So
it be breaking. It be breaking, but it's that shift in perspective. Earlier I mentioned change versus transition, and change is situational, it's external. The change is I don't have that job anymore.
Correct.
The transition or transformation is I am no longer the person that used to work at that job. Who am I now?
Yeah.
In the messy middle, what led to me losing that job? Why does it hurt so bad that I lost that job? That's where the transition and transformation happens. And that's the hard work that most people don't like to do. They like to stay surface level, and ain't nothing wrong with that, because I've experienced that. Still right now today, I'm sure there's life areas where I choose to stay surface level.
Yes.
Because going deeper hurts. And I don't do it often. And when I'm aware of it, I try to sit with myself and take time to kind of like dig into it.
Yeah.
But in real life, everybody has a space in their life where surface level is the only place they are, because that's the only place
what we got.
Be. That's the only place they want to be. But things have to change.
Sure.
And things don't transition or transform for you until you do the internal work. Because a lot of it is about perception. Just like Christianity is perceived to be the religion of suffering. If I wasn't Christian, would I not be going through these same things?
True. I think you're going to go through it, because
they're going to happen
in the way that I believe is that there's one creator. And so you are going to suffer, but I think there's a way of knowing that your suffering is not in vain.
Exactly.
And that since the beginning of time, that this is, since sin entered into the world, that this is the plight that we take, and that God doesn't leave you despite your suffering and your pain. And there's a version of me that believed that God had left me, and so realizing that God doesn't leave you in that suffering and pain. Definitely a version of me believed that, and was very surface level for a really long time around that.
Because you didn't want to take responsibility. You wanted it to be his fault.
It was. And that
at that time,
it was
his fault, and you didn't have no responsibility to take. What responsibility should I be taking for this? I didn't choose this.
Exactly.
And that's really what it be. It be that point of like, it's somebody else's fault. We talk about the grief process, that blaming process. It's someone else's fault. There's no way that I would have done anything to put myself in this much grief.
Yeah.
In this much pain and anguish. I'm not doing that on my own. But go ahead.
In actuality, we do put ourselves in that grief.
I was just about to say. I'm just saying what I was going to say.
Because it's almost like you bookmark a place. And we stay stuck sometimes for too long. I mean, I can say for myself, I stayed stuck for too long in a lot of places, mentally, physically, in friendships and relationships and in careers where we stay stuck there too long, even though there's something that's pushing you to something different. Yep. I think about my transition that I'm going through right now. There was, for a really long time, there was something telling me that this isn't it, this isn't, there's more, there's going to be more required. It's time for you to move on. You need to do this. And the Holy Spirit whispered to me and talked to me, but I wasn't listening. And I chose to stay where I was at. Or chose to stay doing what I was doing. Even prior to this, I can see several times where you start to see, it reminds me of the book, Who Moved My Cheese? You start to see that things are changing around you. Right. You start to recognize that emotions and feelings in a certain place or situation or relationship are no longer feeling reciprocal or feeling aligned. You start to feel those shifts. And sometimes you just want to stay here because it's comfortable and it's familiar. And so we do create our own suffering and struggle as much as, the creator is nudging us to something else, and your body feels it and your psyche feels it. We stay there sometimes too long because we don't know how to navigate through transition. We just want to be surface level, but we have to pick up those bricks and keep moving.
And a lot of what you said reminds me of my purpose here.
Yeah.
My purpose here is to give you what I learned. It's not to present myself as an expert per se. It's not to show you anything other than these are the things that I've learned to get to the spot that I'm in. I have plenty of ways to go. There is nothing about me that's perfection. There's nothing perfect about me. And I'm very transparent about I am in a process. I am not done. I don't believe healing ends until you're gone. Like, I feel like everything is ongoing for the most part. So when I'm here sharing what I'm sharing, bringing the people on the podcast to share what they know, it's about wisdom and knowledge more than anything. It's about, we've done the research. We've done the work. We've done some case studies at this point, and we just want to share the outcome with y'all.
Yeah.
We want to show y'all what the outcome was to this case study, but below the surface. We want to be able to express these things in a way that shows passion and purpose, and not just surface level conversations that's going to leave you with additional questions. Like, I'm not favorable of people just skating over certain things. I think the things that we talk about on this podcast, I intentionally highlight because I don't see a lot of people talking about them in a way that's clear and concise, that's not speaking over someone's head, that's just like real. And people can see that I'm not going to be able to just go from this job to that job without understanding the clarity. I have to understand that that's a change, but the transition is internal. I have to understand that externally I've lost something, but internally I'm going to have to deal with that. I'm going to have to go through the process of grief. I'm going to have to get to the point to where I accept that things are different now. And that's what I want to translate in these conversations. And you started to talk about your version of yourself now. And I found this reel on Instagram.
Oh, Lord.
Let me dig my phone.
Oh, no.
I'm going to dig my phone out. And I think this reel is so fitting for us to conclude this episode and talk about who we are now and what process we have. The outcome of our process, for the most part, has gotten us here. This reel was so
it did it.
It was so me.
It did it.
All right. Here's the reel. I'm gonna let you look at it and hear it. We'll put a real clip in it when we actually edit the podcast. But here it goes.
Play small.
Hold on. Let's start her over. Just make sure she.
I don't play small. I in any way whatsoever. I don't fucking play that shit. I know what it feels like to have the lowest self-esteem, to value myself for the least, to be in partnerships and work relationships from a place of like deficiency and a deficit. I ain't fucking going back no more. I've been delivered. I'm the shit. My business is amazing. My friends are amazing. It's up.
Yes.
Period. That was my favorite part. When I saw that reel, I thought to myself, my future self needs to see that all the time.
Yeah.
So I saved it. And I said we were going to have a conversation about it on the podcast, but I also have looked at it almost every day.
I love that.
Because
Can
it's
you
something.
send that to me?
Yeah. It's something about the conviction in her voice.
Yeah.
When she says that.
She meant what she said.
She meant every word of it. I felt it when she said it because I ain't doing that shit no more.
At all.
It was that aggression that was in those words, and it's so much power in your words. We've talked about the 4 agreements and how being impeccable with your words is so important.
Facts.
Even in the way that the words are explained as spells, and how you have to be very intentional about what you say.
Yeah, power of
the aggression that she had in her voice said, "Don't play with me. I've done the work. I remember being on the other side of that wall.
Very much.
I did every piece of work that I could do to take that wall down. I ain't playing with you no more.
It ain't playing with me.
I ain't playing small. Small? We're going to do what we can, how we can, as good as we can." What did you feel when you said, because that's how I felt when I heard it.
Yeah.
So how did you feel when you heard it?
It resonated so true. You know, when you told me what the name of this episode of the podcast was going to be, it made me think of like what I would say to previous versions of me.
Yes, that's a great segue because we'll end the episode right here. Go ahead and say what you're gonna say. Go ahead. Finish it
Take
off.
a little sippy sip.
She got some good for us.
Look over at my notes because I don't want to misquote the Bible.
Hey, if you watched the off season, the episode that me and Nakia was in, I don't know if y'all remember. She had imaginary Post-it notes that she was putting on the table.
My foot fell asleep.
She was putting these imaginary Post-it notes all over the table, and I would have to go and remind her to go back and get the Post-it note. Where today,
I brought my Post-it.
we have a physical Post-it note, so she's not going to miss a point. Let us hear it. You want me to reintroduce it?
Line me up.
Wait, I gotta see the real question first. Okay. Hold on. I gotta see the real question first. Cause I wanted to get the question perfect. I don't want to play with it. I don't want to play with it. I don't want to play with you.
Thank you.
Period.
That's why you need a big friend like me. I got me a big me.
I ain't playing with you. She don't play small. She got her Post-it note with all her notes on it, baby.
I literally wrote a letter to myself.
Dope. I encourage everybody to do that. Writing a letter to yourself is so connective. I think De'Erica did that in one of her recent trainings too.
Mm-hmm.
So I love that me and my friend group always align in some way. But writing a letter to yourself is so emotional. Oh my God.
I wrote it. I put it in my phone. Like, baby. So I have it. You know, I can refer back to it so I can remember who the fuck you are.
Period. All right. So to conclude this episode, we're going to ask Nakia this very, very intriguing question. What would you say to the girl you used to know?
So I would start off by this because it's something I just recently learned.
Mm-hmm.
And I would start off by saying that you are the light of the world. How can a city set on a hill be hidden? As Matthew 5:14. Mm-hmm. And that's when Jesus is explaining what our kingdom identity is.
Mm-hmm.
And the girl I used to know, God, she was such a people pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
She was so caught up in perfection and appearing to have it all together, even when she could be breaking on the inside. And I'm getting a little emotional as I'm saying.
Her emotions been flowing a lot too since 75 Hard. She must have cut the faucet on.
Can't stand.
We don't take nothing serious. This is a serious question with a serious answer. Stop playing. Go ahead.
So a lot of my my worth and my value, I thought that love had to be earned, that my value and my worth was determined by, people, roles, relationships, by the number that was on my paycheck, very tangible things. And when I think about the girl I used to know and what I would say to her, I really think about how I talk to my daughter now. And I'm sure you know this, that Nuri's name in Arabic means my light. Mm-hmm. And I named her that very much on purpose, because I wanted her to always know who she is and her kingdom identity, which I didn't know that would at that time. But
you knew.
Exactly.
I'm in his mug. I almost cussed.
But I always want my daughter to know who she is, what her kingdom identity is, and what's inside of her from birth. I want you to know that you have a light inside of you. And so that's what I would tell, the girl I used to know, as I think of it, the previous version of me, the girl I used to know, I would tell her, don't shy away from your light. Don't dim your light to fit in rooms that you were merely just meant to walk through. You're worthy. You're enough. So much time was spent attaching my self-worth to all these titles and people and places and things. And when those things shifted, so did my self-worth and my identity and, ebbs and flows of well, who am I if I'm not this title,
right,
if I don't have this situation, if I don't have this, you know, whatever. And so none of those things amount to who you are because you were born to be the light of the world. And don't try to diminish your light to fit in. Don't try to change who you are to be loved or accepted. That you were made whole when you came into this earth. And so dream big, play big, take up as much space as possible, and do it, say it with your chest.
Period.
Because there's so much time that's just wasted in self-doubt and trying to be perfect and trying to be what somebody else is, or I think somebody else wants me to be. And I would tell her, don't be afraid to fail. Fail in grace, fail forward, embrace that. Like, you were never meant to be perfect. God doesn't call you to be perfect. He simply calls you to be obedient. So remember to shine your light, because a lot of what we don't talk about sometimes is that your light allows other people to find their light. And if you, because we are a community, because we are a part of this humanity, because we're a part of society, that we're called to stand in the gap for other people. And if you are not being who you're called to be, then you won't be able to stand in the gap for somebody. You won't be able to tap somebody on the shoulder and remind her to shine a little bit brighter. You won't be able to pursue your purpose confidently because you've forgotten who you were. And so I would just tell her, like, don't shy away from your light. Shine bright, stand on business, and love yourself, because God loves you. Period. He's never leaving you. He never left. So make sure that you share what God gave you with the world.
Amen. Hallelujah. I almost shouted a little bit. The only thing I'm going to say to end this episode is all of what you said just rings so true. And just doing the work to become your authentic self, because sometimes we operate in a space where we are influential.
Yeah.
And we are inspiring, but when that camera off, we still questioning who we are.
For sure.
So if nothing else, do the work. Do the work so that you know who you are. So when the trials come, when you fail, you're not lost because you don't know who you are anymore. You're lost because change have happened.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's a difference. Because sometimes you could transform into someone else you don't want to be because of a change, all because you weren't your authentic self from the beginning.
Absolutely.
Do the work, be as authentic as possible, because then you're going to attract the people that are going to push you to shine your light instead of dimming your light. Because I done had some people that done tried to dim my light. I used to handle it horribly before, more defensively, more physically, you know?
She's aggressive.
But not anymore. Not anymore. I don't try to be. I'm kind. I'm not nice, but I'm kind.
But don't play with her.
Don't play with me, because I do not play like that. But that confidence to not play like that comes in me knowing who I am.
Absolutely.
It comes in me knowing what I had to go through to know who I am. Like, I had to go through a lot of things internally, more so than physically, or externally, to be confident in who I am. I had to lose a lot. I gained things, but I feel like the losses is what gave me the confidence.
Yeah.
Because if I can lose this and still be this, then I'm that girl.
Absolutely. And that's one of those things. That's why I have to say, like, to the girl that I used to know, like, thank you. Because, like, you survived so much.
Just thank you for standing up.
Right. Like,
and not
you survived
folded.
so much without the tools or the resources. And if it wasn't for who I was before, I wouldn't be able to be who I am today. I wouldn't be sitting here at all. I've survived a lot, and that's a tribute to the girl I used to be.
Yes. So at the end of this episode, I wanted to give it back to you. If you wanted to shout out the business, give anything, any ending remarks. Do you have anything else you would like to say to the regulators before we close out?
To anybody who's listening, I'm sure that you're faced with transitions and through hard times. And I just want to encourage you to continue to move forward, doing the work, and to shine your light on the world, because the light that's inside of you is different than the light that's inside of me or anybody next to you. And we need you to shine your light in order for us as a community and as a society, as a world, to move forward. So even though it's scary and sometimes there's some pain and fear that's surrounded around moving into your fullest and most authentic self, be encouraged that on the other side of that, there's so much freedom. And there's so much purpose, and that's what the world needs. They need you at your very best, at your most confident self, at your truest version of yourself. So you owe it to you. You don't have to think about, everybody else that's involved, because we're not here to simply just merely please people around us, but the future version of you needs you to be brave, and needs you to be fearless, and needs you to be your most authentic self, who you came to this earth to be. So be bold, be brave, and shine your light.
And on that note, thank you for coming and talk with us today.
You're welcome.
This is a wonderful conversation. You can find us on all platforms, including YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Where else we at? Earwells.
All the places.
You
get your podcast services.
All the places.
And your access has been granted.
And let me just say this. I say this a lot, or maybe I ain't say it enough. Most of my listeners, 83% exactly, listen to this on Apple Podcasts.
Okay.
I would love for y'all to transition to YouTube, because I come to the studio so that y'all have a visual option. And sometimes people who listen to the podcast say, you got a YouTube?
Yeah.
I got a YouTube, y'all. Go watch the video on YouTube, because if you enjoy listening to us,
hit us with a comment.
Oh yeah,
Let us know what you think about this episode in the comments.
You gonna enjoy seeing us too. We got cute for y'all too. Can't wait to see y'all on the next episode. Bye. Thank you for joining Your Access Has Been Granted podcast today. I hope this conversation helps to move you forward. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. If you're over there on Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate and review the podcast so that we can continue to build our community. And if you're on Spotify, share this podcast with as many people as you can. My name is Brittany Leary. I'm the host of this here podcast, and I can't wait to see you the next time.